Hello and welcome back everyone, I'm Pirate Master Murdoch. In today's video I will be going over all of the craftable items that you can attach to your ships, as well as which cards you get in them and why they're kind of important. So let's jump straight into it. First things first, we have this amazing graphic of all the items you can craft in the Foundry up to tier 3, done by Jenkins, which all of the graphics you're going to see in this video are done by him. So make sure you give him a follow on X right here, because you will want to follow him when he drops new graphics, because they are absolutely the best and super easy to go back to. So if we jump into the Foundry and look at the tier 1 items, you can see that you can craft two different items, the Rusty Cannon and the Rusty Armor. You can see that the Rusty Cannon gives you Heavy Blow, which does 30 damage, which is a nice basic card, and then for the Rusty Armor you get a shield of 30, which is also a really good card. Now if you upgrade your Foundry to level 2, you can actually get better items. So these items are the Iron Cannon and the Iron Armor, which you can equip to your ships as well, and they will give you the cards you see here. So with the Iron Cannon you get the direct 45 damage, as well as the Twin Barrel Shot, which are both cards we've seen before and very good high damage cards. The other one is an Iron Armor. You get the Hardened Shield, which is the 50 shield, an amazing shield. But then the other card is a new card called Expose the Weakness, which is awesome because it does 20 damage, and then it also makes it so the target's damage receives 50% for one turn, which means it pretty much gives weakness. So all of your damage will do extra damage, which is a really good card. And the Iron Armor is something I have equipped on all of my ships. Now, if you can build a Foundry to level 3, this is where your attachments here get really broken. The first one is the Shackles. You can see you get 3 amazing cards. All of these cards we've seen before, and all of them are literally insane. Highly recommend that you attach a Shackles to your ship if you can. The other one is the Cargo Wench, which this is arguably the very best attachment that you can get in total, because it reduces the stowaway AP consumption by 1, which means if you're with a frigate or a galleon, your stowaway is free. With a sloop, it would only cost 1 AP, which again is also very broken. So I would recommend having at least one Cargo Wench if you can, and a Shackles and an Iron Armor on your ships if you can. Now remember, if you add 2 of the same items, so in this case if you had 2 Shackles on your ship, you'll only get the card set once. So just keep that in mind. You can only really have one of each different item here attached to your ship. So now let's look at the workshop items and compare the cards to the Foundry. Alright, here we are here with the workshop. Here you can see the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 items. The tier 1 items are okay. The Rotten Helm gives a draw 1 random attack card, which is alright, and the Rusty Sights gives you the critical target, which again is an alright card. I typically would not use these ones, but if we look at the tier 2 items in the workshop, you can see some better cards. So the Wooden Helm will give a draw 1 random action card, plus a Careful Planning, which is for the next 3 turns you get to draw 1 card. This card can be quite useful in PvP as well as the Gauntlet. Next is the Iron Sights. This one gives you Hit the Dry Powder, which is a really good card. I like this card a lot. And then you also get a Stack the Deck, which can also be very handy. Really good cards. Really good mid-tier item. But if we jump at the tier 3 items, these are typically the best items that we can get. So with the Quality Helm, you get an Improvised Plan, which is draw 1 random attack card. You get an Inspired Attack and Reload. All of these cards are pretty good. And then with Quality Spyglasses, you get a Stack the Deck, which is really good. You get a Feint, and you get a Regroup, which shuffles your full discard pile back into your deck. This can be a pretty decent card, and it's kind of hidden behind me, but at the same time, this is always one of the cards that I typically don't use in my deck, just because I don't like it as much, because I like to cycle through my deck as fast as possible. So just looking at the tier 1, 2, and 3 of the workshop, I probably would prefer the Foundry over the workshop, but that's just me. Now let's look at the Loom. Okay, here we are here at the Loom. Here you can see the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 items again. So tier 1 with the Ratty Sail, it's a 0 AP Swift Course. Next turn, draw 1. This is a pretty nice card, pretty easy to get, the Ratty Sail. It's not a bad attachment for early game. Next is the Rudder Trap, which this is a really good card, the Thrilling Shot. You deal 20 damage and then get a shield to reduce 50% the next attack on you, which is a really good one. And then Patchwork is just more heals for your deck, which is also really good. So I'm a big fan of the tier 1 of the Loom. I think they're arguably the best ones for the tier 1s. Next, if we look at tier 2, the Pirate Sail, this is one of my favorite cards to attach because you get the Act with Haste, which is just 2 extra AP, and then also the Swift Course, which is also pretty handy. Next, we have the Rusty Hull Thread, which again is a really good attachment because it gives you heals and an evade, which this can come in handy a lot in the Hard Gauntlet, especially in Battle 5. So I would recommend this as a mid-tier attachment to your ships. Now, if we look at the tier 3, these are typically the better attachments for your ships. With the Quality Sail, which I highly recommend getting if you can, is you get the Swift Course, you get the Active Haste, and you get a Presence. So you just get a ton of AP added to your deck, which is always helpful. Next is the Quality Hull Thread, which this one literally adds Evade to your deck. So you get Stick and Move, really great card. Better Planning, so you get a draw, 1 extra card for 2 turns, and an Evasive card, which is just super helpful. And then a Quality Med Kit is the other one, which you get Poseidon's Blessing, Basic Relief, and Fix It. So it's literally just like insane heals and removes the conditions off of you, which is super handy, especially if you're going up against an opponent that uses a lot of bleed or has a lot of shield. So these are really good tier attachments. Now obviously there are higher tiers available, but we haven't gotten that far yet into Pirate Nation, and I don't think it's possible to craft tier 4 and 5 items just yet, but that will be coming. But for now, I highly recommend that you save all 3 of these graphics. They will be posted in the Discord. You can also find them on Jenkins' page, which you should definitely be following him if you're not. He is the one who made all of these amazing graphics, and I highly recommend you follow him. But with that, thank you guys for watching, and let me know which attachments you're using on your ships, because I want to know what you're using so I can kind of figure out a good strategy to help those who are struggling with the gauntlet battles to do better. So comment down below which attachments you have on your ships, and let me know how you're doing in the Hard Gauntlet. And with that, thank you guys for watching. Yarr!